Obi-Wan Kenobi is one of the most iconic characters in the Star Wars universe, but who knew he owes his origins to a certain late-night talk show host? Keep watching to discover the untold truth of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Fans are often divided by George Lucas's late career contributions to the Star Wars franchise. In some ways, it can feel like he's both the best and worst thing to ever happen to the saga, and for a long time at least, whatever Lucas said about his universe would quickly become law, even if he was joking. At the Star Wars Celebration 5 in 2010, Lucas was being interviewed by Jon Stewart, who observed that while we know about the homeworlds of most of the saga's main characters, Obi-Wan Kenobi's is a mystery. So he posed the question, just where does Obi-Wan hail from? At this point, Lucas paused to think, spurring Stewart to insist that he not just make up his answer. Lucas sarcastically shot back that he'd never make something like this up, then proclaimed that Obi-Wan's homeworld is the planet of Stewjon, an obvious amalgamation of Jon Stewart's name. While this was obviously an offhand joke for Lucas, the nature of Lucas's influence on Star Wars means it's now enshrined in canon. If you visit Obi-Wan's page on the official Star Wars site, you'll even find that Stewjon is listed as his homeworld on his databank profile. In the Star Wars universe, there's something to be said about the bond between a Padawan and a Master. As Jedi are instructed to forsake their emotional ties and relationships, a Padawan's closest familial bond becomes the one who instructs them in the ways of the Force. As a result, there's a kind of lineage that can be spoken of in the ranks of the Jedi, one that transcends genetic relationships.
Why do I get the feeling you're going to be the death of me?
Don't say that, Master. You're the closest thing I have to a father.
Obi-Wan Kenobi is perhaps the most pivotal and influential Jedi Master in Star Wars. Not only did he train the greatest Sith Lord in the galaxy, his own skills and training can be traced back to the ancient era of the High Republic. During this time, the thriving Republic was expanding to the outer territories within the galaxy, and the Jedi were at their very peak. How does this work? Well, in The Empire Strikes Back, it's implied that Yoda trained Obi-Wan. But the prequel trilogy makes it quite clear that the bulk of his training came from Qui-Gon Jinn. It's later revealed, however, that Jinn was trained by Count Dooku, who was in turn trained by Yoda. So no matter how you spin it, Obi-Wan's skills are derived from Yoda's, and Yoda learned his powers as a Padawan nearly a millennium prior, during the High Republic era. It's one heck of a long line, and one that stretches not just into the past, but far into the future too. Obi-Wan's journey from the Galactic Republic to the Galactic Empire is driven by his incessant need to do the right thing and live by the Jedi Code. In the prequel films, he often appears to harp on Anakin for acting outside the tenets of the Jedi, and he rarely wavers in his loyalties to the Jedi Council. There is, however, one notable exception to this. Sadly, only one film in the saga portrays the relationship between Obi-Wan and his master Qui-Gon Jinn, but it's a fascinating one nonetheless. Throughout The Phantom Menace, Obi-Wan objects to his master's decision to bring Anakin Skywalker into the Jedi fold, but he supports Qui-Gon regardless. Qui-Gon, meanwhile, constantly challenges the Council and is clearly unwilling to fall in line behind their agenda, especially when they deny his request to have Anakin trained. Sticking to his convictions, Qui-Gon commits to teaching Anakin. In his dying breath, Qui-Gon asks Obi-Wan to train Anakin, insisting he is the chosen one. Risking his standing among the Jedi Council, Obi-Wan remains loyal to his dying master's request and assumes mentorship over the young Padawan. Despite his own feelings and the Council's original decision, Obi-Wan's loyalty to Qui-Gon Jinn clearly runs far deeper than his own commitment to the Jedi. At one point, he even tells Yoda that he'll go against the Council's wishes if he doesn't have their support, just like Qui-Gon. It's a stirring testament to the incredibly close relationship between Obi-Wan and his former master. Jedi Knights are known for their prowess in the use of the Force, and Obi-Wan Kenobi became a legend among them by defeating Darth Maul in The Phantom Menace. Of course, Darth Maul would return to skulk in the shadows for years to come, but as far as the prequels go, their battle is as important as it is dramatic. At the time of their duel, a Sith Lord had not been seen in nearly 1,000 years. Defeating and seemingly killing one solidified Obi-Wan's position among the top ranks of the Jedi, and he was granted the rank of Jedi Knight for accomplishing this feat. The Sith are capable and dangerous foes to a Jedi for a reason, as they're less constrained by the moral platitudes of the Jedi Order. Simply put, defeating a Sith Lord is no mean feat, even for a Jedi Master. Obi-Wan's victory over Darth Maul, given his relative youth and inexperience, is one of his greatest and most underappreciated accomplishments. While the duel between Obi-Wan and Darth Maul marks the climax of The Phantom Menace, the two would be destined for many more rounds via the franchise's animated shows. On at least 3 occasions in the Clone Wars and Rebels, Obi-Wan and Darth Maul have been reunited in combat. It's soon revealed that Darth Maul's connection with the Force, as well as his intense hatred for Obi-Wan, kept him alive after being severed in 2. Eventually, he obtained robotic legs that enabled him to once again operate like normal. However, he grew resentful towards the Jedi for taking away his future at Palpatine's side. Maul's brother, Savage Opress, soon located him, and the two set off on their own path toward building a criminal empire. Ultimately, just prior to the events of A New Hope, Darth Maul discovers that Obi-Wan is hiding on Tatooine and deduces that he must be serving a purpose there, or protecting somebody. He hunts down his old enemy, but after a brief clash, Obi-Wan delivers him a fatal wound. In Maul's dying breath, he asks Obi-Wan if the one he protects is the Chosen One. Obi-Wan confirms this, and Maul dies believing that this Chosen One will avenge them both. Clearly, Maul always knew the Sith were his true enemies, having stolen him as a child and indoctrinated him in the ways of the dark side. And while Luke Skywalker didn't avenge Maul in quite the way he might have thought, Obi-Wan's mission to protect and train the young Jedi nevertheless delivered justice for the embittered ex-Sith Lord. The Jedi Ahsoka is known for many things, one being that she was the only Jedi apprentice of Anakin Skywalker prior to his turn to the dark side of the Force. Her quest to becoming a Jedi begins in the Clone Wars animated series, as Anakin trains the young Padawan into becoming a fully fledged Jedi Knight. Most of the time, Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Ahsoka operate together on missions, and Obi-Wan is typically on hand to aid Anakin in his efforts to train his apprentice. Likewise, Ahsoka recognizes Obi-Wan's status in the Jedi Order, often going directly to him to seek guidance, and the two forge a unique bond. Tragically, following Order 66, Ahsoka and Obi-Wan never made contact again, as they're both forced into hiding from the Empire. It's quite likely that he never even knew that she survived the purging of the Jedi. While Obi-Wan may be a legendary Jedi Knight, he isn't infallible. Most of his shortcomings are due to the rigid traditions of the Jedi Order that Obi-Wan adheres to with precision. Indeed, perhaps his most destructive flaw is his aversion to matters of the heart. The Jedi have always denied their emotions and romantic attachments to others, but this makes them more susceptible to volatility and instability. The result? This. Obi-Wan is particularly adherent to this rule, and it even prevents him from discussing his Padawan's obvious attraction to Padme. Had this been an open topic for discussion, perhaps Obi-Wan could have circumvented Palpatine's efforts and reasoned with Anakin before tragedy struck. Likewise, his fear of impacting the fate of the galaxy by bringing up family trauma prevents him from telling Luke the identity of his real father. In Return of the Jedi, Obi-Wan counsels Luke to kill his father, a task Luke doesn't think he can perform. Obi-Wan then laments a failure that hadn't even occurred. Of course, Luke's love for his father later brings about the downfall of the Empire, proving that the Jedi and Obi-Wan himself were very much in the wrong. In a 2015 run of Star Wars comics published by Marvel, Luke discovers Obi-Wan's old journals. Issue number 7, written by Jason Aaron, details an adventure in which he rescued Luke from Jabba's enforcers as a young boy. At the time, Luke had become angered by Jabba's henchmen collecting water tax from the moisture farms. After attempting to steal the water back, Luke was caught and came very close to being sold into slavery. Luckily for the intrepid little do-gooder, old Ben Kenobi had been watching his back from the shadows. Obi-Wan leapt into action, using the Force to dispatch Luke's captors. The next morning, Luke awakened to Aunt Beru, asking him what had happened. He stated that he simply could not remember. This would seem to imply that Ben Kenobi used the Force to wipe Luke's memory of the event. True to his word and purpose, this wasn't the only time that Obi-Wan has demonstrated his watchful eye and protective actions over Luke. The most famous of these, of course, occurs in live action when he scares away the Tusken Raiders in A New Hope. And there can be little doubt that he'll get the chance again when Obi-Wan Kenobi airs on Disney Plus in 2022. Building an evolving story that grows both backwards and forward can be extremely difficult work. For George Lucas, modernizing old plot points eventually became a tug-of-war with simply telling solid stories, leading to some substantial plot holes in his franchise. One such trouble spot comes from Obi-Wan, apparently having forgotten R2-D2 and C-3PO from his days as a young Jedi Knight despite all the adventures they shared together. When Alec Guinness sees the droids in A New Hope, he barely even acknowledges them.
Well then, the droid does belong to you.
Don't seem to remember ever owning a droid.
One fan theory argues that Obi-Wan may have voluntarily erased any memory that connected him with the dissidents of the Empire in order to protect himself and Luke. It's a nice idea, but nothing exists in canon to support it, and for now, fans will have to assume that in A New Hope, old Ben Kenobi is simply showing his age. At first pass, it might seem odd that Han and Leia named their son after the name Obi-Wan took in exile. After all, Han barely knew Ben Kenobi. Sure, the old man had tagged along with Luke aboard the Millennium Falcon, but he died at the hands of Darth Vader mere hours later, after the crew was pulled aboard the Death Star. Obi-Wan engages in few notable interactions with Solo, and even Leia knew him primarily from his reputation. That said, both of them were aboard the Death Star, and if not for Obi-Wan's diversion and sacrifice, the whole group might have been killed. Most likely, as the years went by, Luke shared Obi-Wan's stories with his sister and brother-in-law, perhaps suggesting that Ben Kenobi had helped bring the two of them together. Suddenly, the name Ben makes a little more sense for the child of Han and Leia. It's just a shame what happened next. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Looper videos about your favorite movies are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.